government decided that it's just only to move the Bedouins from the
Yes.
mountains to the new cities or new villages. And the village was very well built.
Yes.
You see, electricity, water, accessories and everything. So the Bedouins, moved to the new village, and after 3 months or 4 months,
back.
they refused that, and then get back to the mountains. Culture, social,
Yeah.
it's all about the man. I mean,
Yeah.
to understand, the man culture and socially, they have goats, for example, and, sheep or something like that. So, and this is their trade
Yeah.
from 100 years. So understanding, the
Yes.
background
Of
of
the
the
people.
people, what they love and what they like. They love, very big house,
Open.
cool yard, front
You can
yard,
shout from one
backyard,
house to the
something
other.
like that, for the sheep and, goats and camels or something.
But the classic example in India for us about 40 years ago, when we started doing this work, was that the World Bank came to the city of Chennai, which is on the sea. And they said, oh, these fisher folk are living like this, it's not good for them. And they got ground plus 3 structures. No place for them to, they all have to sit and repair their nets. They have baskets that stick to her. So where do you put all that? There was no, there was just these. The World Bank procured some architects who just standardized, built these ground plus 3 houses. They were so small that everybody likes to sit like this in the evening and chat. There was no place to do that. Many of them had cows and goats. They didn't know where to put them. They were being stolen. So what you are saying is very important, is that how sensitive you are to what is familiar and has evolved over years, which is good. And how do you preserve it? How do you improve on it? And what are the things that are not good that you need to replace? And that has to be out of a negotiation and a demonstration. And that's why we work with women. Yeah. Maybe that you wanted to say something, sir.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add to what the gentleman is saying and yourself, that there's indigenous knowledge systems that have been existing for a while. People in slums have lived through all elements of weather conditions and they've adapted. Resilience is already existing. Now with the new acceptance of climate change and the impacts, we're seeing big business wanting to impose so-called new building technologies, different materials, without recognizing what is already being used on the ground by people who've been in these conditions before. So what needs to be done is how we incrementally introduce what is considered high-tech and better, and the linkage with what people have been doing. Because living in informal settlements, rain affects you anytime. Mud, sewer, lack of energy sources. So climate impact, adverse climate conditions have always been a prevalence in informal settlements. It is just now affecting more people on a bigger scale. However, you cannot impose the new ways of doing things. You need to acknowledge what indigenously people have been using, how have they been surviving, and really find a middle way between the social and the technical way of doing things. So there needs to be that bridge.
Yeah, may I add something? It's, in Egypt, for example, we have oases.
Yes, yes.
And when the people or inhabitants of the oasis wanted to build their houses, they build it based on what is under their feet. What I mean, the raw materials. Yeah, they don't use, what you call it, red bricks, tiling, something like that. They use, the palm. I mean, bricks, palm. As for, for windows, for roof, for doors, everything. And also to use, it's not a sand actually, it's like clay.
Clay.
Yes. And what is amazing there, they, they don't go to the contractors
No, they do
or
it
the
themselves.
builders. It's like, associations. Yeah. If I wanted to build a house for my sons or something like that, all the inhabitants of the village, they cooperate all together and they work. One is, mixing, the clay, one is, cutting the wood, the bundles and so on. So it's like, cooperative work.
Yeah.
And you do it for each other.
Exactly. So they don't need anything. So here is, what I wrote here is, the cost. The cost is very important for the people. When we talk about the slum areas, even they are tenants. They don't have money, even to buy, one time. So it seems that when that is one of the challenges, and acceptable, yeah, they don't care about acceptable or not, because actually they don't have money. How we can encourage, the people, the inhabitants of the slum areas is to live in dignity. That is very important. They don't want, castles. They want healthy and, clean and, infrastructure. I mean, water, sanitation. Sanitation is very important.
Yes.
You can't, imagine how the poor people pay for, taking the sanitation.
You wanted to say something?
Yes, Sheena. So for me, when I see the campaign, I feel there is an emphasis of the house, the dwelling, which is quite amplified. And I feel like, in formal settlements, much that is in between houses is equally important, whether we talk about climate change and adaptation.